Welcome guys to a brand new video on Wuthering Ways, and I know the title of the video is going to bring a bunch of people who are ready to start to worrying it out in the comment section. So I'm going to be talking about certain parts of the community. Okay, when I say the woo community, I don't mean in general. I'm talking about the toxic ones. Okay, so I honestly feel like the community has gotten some really bad bunch. Okay, it's not surprisingly. Okay, it's not surprising. Sorry, every gacha game has those bunch of people that ruin the community. Okay, it's absolutely true. However, since woo has gotten actually mainstream, we have gotten a lot more communities or a lot more people who refuse to critique the game. Okay, there is valid criticisms, but some people in the woo community refuse to hear it, and if you try and say something about it, it's a whole new wave of issue. Okay, and this is literally because the game has gone mainstream. I absolutely love the fact that woo has gotten so big, it has entered so many other community, it has brought about so many people playing the game. But at the end of the day, I can't lie, some of the woo community are acting exactly like Genshin players. Okay, the people that they actually try to fight over and over again, they are basically them. Okay, I always find it funny when Kurobots or that certain part of the community think they are different to Genshin community. Early Genshin was absolutely riddled with people defending the terrible decisions that the devs were doing over and over again. I feel like after Tower Fantasy came out, people realized we needed an open world game that actually rivals Genshin, because that's the only reason why the devs would ever change. And look at this, Wuthering came out and Genshin has actually started to change. Now, I'm not talking about Genshin devs being bad right now. I'm talking about how the community was absolutely atrocious as well. There was Genshin players that refused to hear any valid criticism about the game. And look at the robots right now. Look at the certain parts of the woo community thinking they're better than the Hoyo shields, quote unquote, but they are exactly the same. You just hate yourself, guys. You literally just hate the people you are hating on is exactly you. And it's absolutely funny to see. So I've made a video a couple of times. I always make if the devs do something bad, I will make a video on it. Okay, the anniversary was absolutely atrocious. I feel like there's actually a couple of people in the community that actually agree. There's a lot of people actually in the community that actually agree that the woo anniversary was terrible, but you will still find people absolutely refuse to accept it. There is actually people that think the woo anniversary was actually good. It boggles my mind. Okay, it literally boggles my mind, because that was honestly terrible in every single way. The rewards, the event, it was bad. It was really bad. But there's people out there who were saying, nah, it's just the rewards. Nah, the event itself. Okay, the event itself was also pretty bad. Now, of course, people did go and left a survey regarding that anniversary. But if I made a video on the anniversary being bad, there'll be some people trying to downplay it or something like that. It was absolutely ridiculous. I remember as well, during the launch of woo, I made a video showcasing how it was kind of unplayable for me, because the RAM for the game would go insanely high. Okay, even if I shut it down, okay, it was really bad. Everyone agreed that during the launch of woo, it was absolutely atrocious, but we still had some community members, some people saying, shut up, it's your laptop is bad. I'm running a laptop with 4060 RTX with Ryzen 7 7000 series, and people would still say my laptop was bad. Okay, that was early woo. There was already showed signs that, oh my days, we are about to have those toxic community people who literally refused to accept that there was issues with the game. Even though right now you can literally ask everyone and they agree, yes, the launch was absolutely atrocious. People would not be able to play properly. It was laggy. I had that issue. I recorded that issue. People were still saying, shut up, it is not an issue, stop lying, you're just someone who wants to cause the game harm, blah blah blah. That was early days. Okay, now if I say, oh, the negative status team that they're trying to do is a terrible decision, you get people defending it. Absolutely. Again, I am not saying this is only unique to woo. I'm saying this is unique to multiple gacha games, but the more mainstream the gacha game becomes, the more toxic the community becomes, or the more toxic certain parts of the community become. It's toxic positivity. That's what I'm going to call it. Toxic positivity, which actually hinders the game. Just like how Genshin refused, they were like, we already have people defending us. There was literally no reason for us to change. that's going to be the same with Rua. I think they've gotten complacent and realizing the community loves them a lot. Okay, I love horror games. Okay, they've like the first year of the game has been a fantastic improvement. Okay, look at the first few updates we've gotten. The devs released a bunch of great stuff. They showed that they really love the players, but since they have gotten all this love, I can't lie, since the anniversary, something shady has been happening. Okay, not shady, but they've just like stopped trying to please the community. Not okay, they've stopped trying to go above and beyond in pleasing or getting that sentiment like, oh, the devs listen, No, now if I call out the fact that we don't have that many 4-star characters, in fact we haven't gotten newer 4-star characters, people again will say, shut up, stop hating on the game, we don't need 4 stars. Other gacha games do not include 4-star characters, doesn't matter. Like, they actually try and justify some of the terrible decisions the devs do by saying it's a regular thing in gacha game. Okay, but we want Wuwa to be better. Gacha games are inherently predatory. Other gacha games, or many gacha games, do use predatory strategies to try and get people to play. We thought Wuwa were different though. Didn't we think horror games were different? They give us a free 5-star selector at the start, which many other companies would not do. Even if the game was buggy, what they would give you was like 2 multi. Wuwa gave multiple summons, and then they gave us a 5-star character for free. They were going above and beyond, showcasing how they wanted to be different to other devs. They give us a free 5-star character like in the next few patches. That was crazy good. And then they continuously improved the game. And again, I do think the game has been improving over and over again. I'm just looking at all the negative stuff that's coming out right now with characters requiring... Okay, I don't think Chikona and Katefia is that big of an issue compared to Zani and Phoebe. I think that itself is a bigger issue because Zani literally cannot work without Spectral Frazzle, and I'm happy that they didn't really fall and do the same thing with Katefia. I still think it's an issue that her weapon is such a significant improvement because we don't have great even 4-star alternatives, 5-star alternatives. They could have literally released a 4-star weapon at the same time, and that does this that does like 15%. It's 15% worse than her weapon, or 20% even. I think the weapon is actually like 20, like, a significant improvement to her actual damage. So again, if I make any critique video regarding like some of the issues like the negative status element, so there are some people in the community that absolutely agree that that was just terrible. It literally adds nothing special besides restricting teams, besides forcing or making it seem like you need this specific mono-specific team. Okay, again, people are going to say, well, you don't need those characters because endgame is easy. You can clear every single end game with the characters without the specific best in slot. That is true, but imagine summoning for a character that okay, this is regarding Phoebe and Sunny specifically. Imagine summoning for a character that literally is incomplete. You can't actually use her without a specific unit. That is just, what's the point? Okay, imagine I buy a car and then they say to me, well, you can't actually use everything of your car because you have to buy this little thing in packages as well. It's not great. Okay, we don't want to see that. So anyways, I wanted to talk about how the community, there are like honestly, Wuwa community, some I say, okay, I'm generalizing, I don't mean to generalize, but the general sentiment now, so many gacha games players, is that Wuwa community does not like to hear criticism, literally at all. So again, I made a video how Katefia, she needs the the flower to upgrade her. Newer players can't upgrade her past level 20. You guys will be like, well, they're newer players, they can't level them up anyways. Well, no, you're going to be playing the game. They have our characters at level 40 or level 60, but their own Katefia, one of the best unit in the game, is stuck at level 20 because they have not unlocked Septimont or whatever, and they can't farm the new flower. And even though I mentioned you can't get the flower from the shop, and I've mentioned how newer players, yes, they're not going to be getting characters to level 90 because they're newer players, but still they'll be getting characters to level 40, level 50, or level 60, sorry, and then they can't even level up the Katefia past level 20. It's not great, okay? And people will be like, well, just play the game. There is a way to fast forward to Renacita, which is true, but then okay, you fast forward to Renacita, but you still have to do a bunch of other quests, right? You do a bunch of other quests to actually get to Septimont, and then I just, in general, I mentioned that issue, and damn, people refused. Like, people refused to accept that it was an issue. They were like, just play the game, just play the game. It's actually vexing to see it. But hey, I understand this is something that will always happen when a game goes mainstream. Again, I had this issue with Genshin. I was calling out Genshin left, right, and center, but the community refused to hear it, and I gave up. I literally gave up. And then, you know, Tower Fantasy came out. I really hope that game was the game that's gonna make the devs change. They flopped it. Tower Fantasy flopped it. But then it actually made the community wake up, like, yeah, we have an issue. And yeah, right now we kind of make fun of Hoyo people, but the game is actually getting better. Of course, it's because, you know, competition now, the game has to get better, but still, community now in Genshin realizes that the game is flawed. Okay, in Wuwa, we're still in that phase where everyone agrees, or everyone is trying to stop criticism from happening. We're in that stage where everyone refused to accept that there are issues in the game and refuse to listen to criticism. So this kind of relates to how toxic positivity works as well, where only the positive part just is being said over and over again, and if you try and say anything negative, it gets shut down straight away. Negative in terms of like criticisms. So it's always just positive. You're just being bombarded with all the great stuff about the game, and you never hear anything bad about the game. It's just toxic positivity, and honestly, it's something that every community has, especially early on. Yes, 1 year isn't enough for the community to grow up and wake up that there are issues. Okay, I feel like a lot of people are still in the honeymoon phase even. So yeah, I do think this is something that the community definitely needs to be aware of, because at the end of the day, saying stuff that are positive too much and ignoring the negative isn't going to help the game grow. Okay, at the end of the day, I want Koro Games to continue to strive to improve Wuthering Waves. Okay, stop trying to say, oh well, every other gacha game does this. No, we want this normal shitty predatory strategies that other games do to not follow suit in Wuwa as well. Anyways, it's been your boy AC Gamer, and I'm out.